Okay, everybody, welcome to our Wellness Warrior call tonight. I'm super excited to be here and to have a voice for sure. And I love seeing each one of you get on the call. And it's so fun, like I said, to put faces to names. And as our company just keeps growing by leaps and bounds, and how exciting it is to be able to spread the word of hope to people with their health and their wellness, and you know, again, with their financial options, and to bring both of those together along with our core values and our culture, which is my favorite part of our company, is that we're here to shine as a bright light to everybody and to come together to have a safe place for people to be, and to be their authentic self, really is what it's all about. So thank you for being here. My name is Jill Iverson. And I have been in this company since almost the very, very beginning. And it's been so fun to see it evolve and into what it is today. And guys, we're just getting started. So buckle up your seatbelts because we're just getting started. I'm so excited to start this call off tonight with my dear friend, Sandy Tomlinson. She has an incredible story with Zalevo, and she's married to her sweetheart. Sandy, how long have you been married? I'm going to have you unmute yourself just for a second.
We've been married a little over 49 years.
49 years. Isn't that incredible? They have 4 children and 14 grandchildren. And Sandy is always running her grandkids to ball games and just everywhere. Sandy happens to be my kid's favorite 9th grade English teacher. She was like the favorite of all, the whole school. Everybody would put a request in to have Mrs. Tomlinson for their teacher. So Sandy, I'm so incredibly grateful to have you a part of our Zalevo community and all the gifts and talents that you bring here. And if it would be okay, and if it's okay with everybody else, we're going to have Sandy share her Zalevo testimonial with us right now.
Well, thank you. And thank you for asking me. I don't need much prodding to share my testimony of these products. I love people, and I love being in a position where if something I do can help somebody else, then that's where I want to be. And that is why I love the culture of Zalevo so much, because those of you who've been on calls with me before, you know that I believe, just like you do, that this was divinely inspired, that this company is going to go places because of the integrity, not in spite of those who have integrity. And I am so grateful to be included and to just kind of hang on to everybody's coattails and be able to do that. My testimony of these products started a year ago. I have said it before, and most of you probably have heard this, but I wanted to know what Jill was doing, and she has so much integrity. She refused to talk to me about it until she got to a certain date when that would have been appropriate. And I waited, and on that date I said, I'm on my way over. I want to talk. I don't care what it is. I want you to tell me what it is. But I had gotten the warning from my husband that I was not to do another network marketing company, and I didn't want to. All I wanted to do was look at product. All I wanted to do was because I knew if Jill was there, it had to be great. But when I walked out of there, I had signed up for the whole schmeal, and I had to come home and tell my husband what I'd done, and he wasn't very happy at first. But I ended up losing 20 pounds that first month, and then he was happy. And then it wouldn't have taken, I mean, wild horses couldn't have changed his mind faster. He was so excited that I was getting back to the place where I'd wanted to be. And that kind of went on, that really fast weight loss. And I was religious about doing the product the way it was told that you could lose the most weight, and I didn't cheat. Well, I did cheat a few times, but I mean, for the most part, I was on track every single week. And this went on all through the Christmas holidays. And for the first time in my life, I didn't gain weight during the Christmas holidays. The first time in my life. I don't know how many people can say that, but you know, I'm 68 years old. And so my entire married life, I had been gaining weight every Christmas and, you know, Thanksgiving. So this was just a new vision of what would be possible for me in this company. And along the way, I was very blessed to have people believe in me and trust what I said to them about these products. And I was able to accomplish a lot and make a little money on the way. And that wasn't the biggest deal for me. But it was helpful. You know, it was a lot of fun. I'm retired. I've been retired now. This will be my 3rd year that I haven't taught. Sorry. I get emotional sometimes because I'm grateful that I don't have to teach at my age, but I miss those kids. I don't miss the classroom, and I don't miss the administration, but I do miss those kids. And I just feel like I went from one, and I always felt like teaching school was a calling. You know, I always felt like if you have that ability, you should do that. But I went from one calling to another, I believe, with Zulevo, because I believe I was meant to do this. I've never doubted it for a minute. And I've always found the help that I needed, both in the people that I've met and from my Heavenly Father. And so I believe that I'm where I need to be. Now, when you talk about burn mode, I was so excited to find out that we were actually going to be talking about burn mode, because I told everybody I knew, if you learn to burn, you will never diet again, ever. And I totally believe that. I eat what I want to eat, and not that I'm gaining weight and then trying to burn it off. That's not it. I don't think, and I so appreciated a Facebook post today. Do you remember, Jill? I can't remember who it was. Shepherd.
Amanda.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I just had a brain misfire for a minute, but I was so impressed with that, because she said, don't feel guilty about what you eat, but if you make wrong choices, then, you know, you get back on. But I have never felt guilty about what I've eaten since I've been on this program, and I have lost 50 pounds. And all I can tell people is that you do what you need to do. You do what you need to do. And then a couple of times a month, you go through a burn, and you'll never diet again, and you'll never feel guilty about what you eat either. So thank you, Jill. I appreciate being able to do that. And I see that Kathy is here in the form of Jim. So
Yes.
I love you, Jim. I'm so glad you're on tonight. This is going to be so fun. But thank you for letting me do the pre while we were waiting for Jim.
You're welcome. And Sandy, we love you. We appreciate you. I'll never forget the day that you were at my house in St. George and Jim walked in the room and you just broke into tears, and you were like, if Jim Rhoades is joining our company, then we truly have something special here. And you guys will hear all about it in just a few minutes, why Sandy broke into tears and what is so incredibly special about our formulations. I also wanted to recognize Sandy. She is one of our newest platinum founders in Zulevo. She's been working her little tail off, and I'm so proud of you, Sandy, and I love you with all my heart. So thank you for sharing tonight. We love and appreciate you. Okay, all right, moving forward, I am going to turn the time over to my brother from another mother, who I have known for, oh gosh, probably the past 15 years, as we served together in a different company. And he and his wife, his sweet honeybee wife, who he calls honeybee, I love it. Is that honeybee?
Yep, honeybee.
Yeah, okay. I thought, oh my gosh, for a second it didn't sound right. His honeybee Joy and I have just grown to love them so much. I mean, first off, we could feel each other's spirits, and we knew that we were just fast friends right away. And Jim was on that journey with us as well. And so I'm grateful for the leadership that we have here, and for everybody that is involved. And if you guys could just mute your lines, that would be awesome. As we turn it over to the amazing Robert Arthur. Robert, thank you for being here and welcome to our call tonight.
Thank you, Joe. Love you. And again, sister from another mister there. Thank you. And it's like family, isn't it? Anybody else feel like it's family on these calls now that you've been in for some time? I call Jim Big Brother. Jill's my sister. Kathy Horn, my other sister. You know, Brandon's my uncle now. So anyway, it's yeah, my younger uncle. I'm older than him, but anyway. Okay, well, you know, I do want to recognize the VIP in the room, and I love doing this. So bear with me. You've done it before. Reach out with your right hand. Come on, wave your right hand around, and now cross over your left shoulder and pat the VIP on the back. Yes, thank you for being here and showing up. You're stepping out. Most people are watching some kind of Netflix or Whoflix or something series right now. So you're showing up to learn about how to live life at your highest potential. How many want to live life at your highest potential? I know I do. Speaking of that, and Jill's already mentioned this. Many of you love this gentleman already, those of you know him. I've known Jim for about 18 years now. And again, I call him Big Brother because we share so much of the faith, passion for uplifting other people. And Jim has been on a mission to bring God's most beautiful and most powerful nutrition and plants and, you know, wellness, if you want to support, if you want to say to the world that God made. And he's been on that path for 50 years now, 5 decades, crazy enough. He seems so young because he has this youngster spirit at heart. I love this man. He's been on radio, TV shows. He's traveled all over the planet now, and he is loved by so many people because he truly is a servant leader. So welcome, Jim.
On if you want to run in there.
Are you there, Jim?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
And see me?
And see you.
Okay, I can move to a bigger computer. My wife just invited me to use hers rather than this little thing. So hang on.
Actually, you're coming in good. It's up to you, but you're
okay.
visual
If
and
I'm
audio.
coming in good, I'm going to stay put just in case I don't want to get lost again.
Yeah,
So.
I do want to acknowledge the group tonight, Jim and Jill both, because for your patience, we had a little technical challenges, a little Zoom. We all use Zoom, yes. If you ever remove somebody from the meeting that continues, you can't get them back. I got to find out how to get Jim back. So Jim is removed because he couldn't find the button to leave the previous meeting. So a little housekeeping for those who do Zoom every day. Then if you happen to remove somebody to helping them out, you may have to fix that sometime down the road. So thank you, Jim, for your patience as well.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. And speaking on one of my, on a product that is just revolutionizing my life and can change so many people's lives for the better because of what it accomplishes. In my opinion, this is truly the product that can change up the dynamics of the future of anyone who finds it. It is that important or that incredible in people's lives if they can figure out what it's doing and how it's doing it for them by just simply using it, they will get the results, I think, that are stellar. And so, yeah, I'm anxious to share about the burn.
Many of us are excited to learn more, Jim, about this amazing master formulation. So before we get into these specifics tonight, I'll finally found it's got these new teeth, guys. So Jim, if you can you tee this up, explain a little bit of why on the package it says intermittent fasting aid. I would love for you to ground us a little bit and why we should fast, and not just that, but also a couple of the top challenges of fasting when we don't have support nutritionally. Can we start there, Jim?
Absolutely. There's an epidemic in the United States. In fact, it's worldwide. And the epidemic is something called insulin resistance. And insulin resistance often shows up 10 years prior to any of the symptoms of type 2 diabetes. And with that being said, first of all, a disclaimer, we're not being doctors, so we're not prescribing or diagnosing, and we're not curing anybody, but we are giving our bodies a chance to do something that they do automatically, and that is regenerate themselves in a healthy manner. We're literally regenerating at the rate of about 1 billion new cells per minute, if you can even imagine that. And with intermittent fasting, we can add a dimension of that regeneration to building stronger and healthier cells and getting rid of those particular cells that could grow up and become very hazardous to our health, and dejunking the body, literally. This burn mode makes that possible. Intermittent fasting is anytime you can stop using glucose as your primary source of energy. So the intermittent fasting that we're talking about is removing all of the sugars for a period of time that aren't needed in the bloodstream to give energy to all of the cells of the body, and choosing to fast from any of those carbohydrates that create that blood sugar or that glucose, so that it does not require a delivery system of insulin to take it into the individual cells. Insulin being the problem, it's both a good thing and becomes a problem when we need high amounts of it to get the sugar out of the blood into the individual cells. And what starts to happen is the cells become resistant to the insulin, so it continues to add more insulin and more insulin and more insulin until at some point in time, you've developed this problem that is a cascade of a whole bunch of other problems. In fact, there's a Dr. Benjamin Bickman who claims that the top 5 degenerative diseases in the United States, particularly cardio, cancer, arthritis, diabetes, and even Alzheimer's, are all linked to one common cause, which is insulin resistance. And if you can reduce that insulin resistance by not needing as much insulin and letting the cells themselves heal and become insulin sensitive, suddenly you can have a whole new lease on life, in my opinion. And that's what we are attempting to do with the intermittent fasting. When you're fasting and not putting carbohydrates in the body, it requires no insulin, obviously, because there's no sugar to be delivered to the cells, or no glucose. And the body then can convert into burn mode of a storage of former glucose that was changed into fat. And the fat now can be converted into ketones, and the ketones do not require insulin to deliver them. They're delivered by the liver. And that form of energy can go out without raising insulin resistance. So the longer we can be in a mode of not loading the body with more insulin, the more sensitive it can become and bring us back into a homeostasis or balance.
Okay, I followed most of that. You lost me in a couple places along the way.
Okay.
So what I did take away from that is the fact that we've all heard, Jim, of insulin resistance, and we, for those listening, we've done calls specifically on this subject, haven't we, Jim, on
Yes.
insulin resistance, insulin sensitivity, and kind of where we do a deeper dive into that. So for the moment, Jim, just from a purely practical standpoint, just for a second here, when we're dealing with, at some level, being insulin resistant, are the hallmarkers of that, roller coaster? What are some of the challenges that face us? The practical, what does it look like when we're more insulin resistant versus insulin sensitive?
Okay. Well, honestly, many symptoms don't show up at all.
Okay.
For a long time. But here's what starts to show up as that insulin resistance becomes higher and higher. The big one, of course, is type 2 diabetes. The
Right.
second that shows up, of course, the doctor declares you are insulin resistant, you are a type 2 diabetic. But long before that, insulin creates all kinds of other problems by turning other hormones off. It is a master hormone. And when it's at play in the blood, all of the other ones have to stay home, including even one of the big ones, which is human growth hormone. As insulin goes up, human growth hormone goes down. And as a consequence, that regeneration I was talking about requires human growth hormone in every instance to rebuild those new cells. And when you push that way to the bottom, then they can't do a very good job or do a much lesser job. And when insulin is not in the way, human growth hormone can increase literally not just 100, but 200 and 300 and 400 and up to 500%.
Yeah.
And when that's happening, all kinds of wonderful things in the body can start happening to rebuild and dejunk, get rid of harmful cells, save the cells that are salvageable, and regenerate at a much higher rate of a healthier cell.
I love that. Thanks for at least explaining a little more about the what the insulin resistant is and what are some of the hallmarkers. And as you said, it can be this secret, invisible, sneaking up on us kind of thing where we don't even realize some of the implications until they become larger and they really wake us up with some major health challenges, Jim. So burn mode. So when I know Kirsty, we've had many calls with Kirsty, guys. Kirsty is our director of product development with our beautiful company called Zalevo. Jim sat down with Kirsty. That conversation with her was one of the initial reasons why Jim is here with us as well, which led to other conversations. So Jim, if you were in Kirsty's shoes, would burn mode, would it have been one of your essential components of the system you would have launched if you were the director of product development?
I would love to say I would have been as inspired to build something like this myself, but this breakthrough, in my opinion, is so far beyond my imagination of what she was able to actually help her team produce, because it not only helped with the lowering of the insulin by removing the carbohydrates, but it went to the very next level, which is something that is new to me, but phenomenal. The more I'm studying it and the more I'm understanding it, which is that big word, autophagy. And autophagy can only occur not only when you remove the carbohydrates, but also the fats and the proteins. Okay? When all three of those are removed, and yet you're nourishing the body with super nutrients in the burn mode. you're getting all of your minerals. You're getting, I mean, if you read the back of this label, you're getting vitamin C, vitamin E, magnesium, zinc, chromium, potassium, the L-arginine. You've got your 72 trace ionic C minerals. One that is very seldom talked about, you have something called fulvic trace mineral powder. And that happened to be the thing that I studied for 10 years. What is this fulvic? And it is a major chelator of nutrients to take them into the cell. It carries and grabs a hold of the vitamins and the minerals and the enzymes and the electrolytes and the amino acids and the fatty acids and the oxygen and the water, and it carries that into the cell as a chelator. A chelator simply means it has the key to the cell, just like insulin does. So it can open a cell and let things in. Once it puts all these nutrients in, it acts as a super antioxidant. So it slows down oxidative stress, which is another major key component of slowing down our aging. And then last but not least, it is also the remover of garbage from the cell. It is a chelator to the garbage to carry it out and help it flush from the body. And in that factor, we're actually doing some cleansing. You can see where it says intermittent fasting aid supports fat burning. So we understand how it's helping us use ketones, supports detox, which stands for detoxification. And that part at cellular level is phenomenal. Taking out the garbage out of the individual cells and helping it get rinsed out of the body so that you have a cleaner machine to work with. Imagine cleansing or detoxing, 37.2 trillion cells when you're doing this burn mode. I mean, there are so many advantages of doing this, and then you add something like the E-Vibe to it, and now you've really got the antioxidant count clear up there into the million. Suddenly you can see why people who use the product can see results in the first 5 days and feel the difference inside their body. Literally, it is that need of new science added to the mode of nutrition, and combining those two in such a way that you asked me that question, would I have liked to have invented something like this? I had no clue somebody could. And so when, like you say, when Kirsty started to teach me this, I just stood back and said, is this for real? Is this for real? Yeah. And then the way to find out is to literally put it to the test. I put it in my body and suddenly, bam, I can go 24 hours or longer.
It's amazing, isn't it? Many of us, I do have a question for the group, Jim, just for fun here, to see the difference. My question is, how many of you, by show of hands in a moment, have done some kind of cleanse or fast or detox and struggled? We're hangry, moody, hungry all the time, low energy, mental fog. So yes, it's true, isn't it? So many of us, I know I'm a lean body, Jim, and so when I even attempted to do a longer, other type of cleanse, etc., my body, for different reasons, just wasn't handling it well, and I could never really get into autophagy. So that's my other question. When you, Jim, I've heard when you dive deeper into autophagy, the purists out there say if you put anything besides water, okay, when you do a prolonged autophagy fast, getting past the 24-hour into the 48-hour, 60-hour mark, if you put anything else in there, they call it a dirty fast or a dirty autophagy. I call ours an enhanced autophagy fast. That's what I would term it. I would love to hear your thoughts around what is the major difference when we use burn mode between a quote water fast and or enhanced or nutritionally supported autophagy fast.
Okay, the difference is, as a water fast, is you're blessing the body in one direction. However, you're not nourishing the body. The difference is, and why it's so much easier to do this program with the burn than it is just a water fast, is that the nutrition the body still needs is flooding into the body every 4 hours. Every time you take one of those little burn sticks, put it in your water, stir it up, take it down, you are feeding the body nutrients that it needs to complete with energy, enough nutrient value there that it can hold you not just 4 hours, but 8 and 12 and 24 and 36 and even up to 48 for me. And that's a major difference, particularly because of my own disposition of my body having a low blood sugar swing so easily. That's what shocked me, that I could go to 48 hours and not drop into that low blood sugar. And then I read the ingredient list and was amazed to see why and how. The difference is night and day. When you're nourishing the body with these super nutrients, particularly the minerals, and I mean, we have all of the minerals, we have the enzymes in there, we have so many wonderful things. Oh gosh, I could go on with the science. People need to look up autophagy. They need to really study what in the world it's doing and why. It's literally able to help the body regenerate itself in a healthier manner by just dropping into the autophagy, and not just the ketosis portion where you're using the fat. That's awesome, just getting rid of the excess fat. And that's what a lot of people are going to be attracted to. They want to drop weight and they can lose fat at the same time while protecting lean body. And that's the rest of what this does, particularly if we're going to end it with one of our Ultra 30 shakes, which is full spectrum, every nutrient the body needs to regenerate every cell.
Which is key, Jim. And we did a call, was it last week, guys, or the week before? We did a call with Kirsty, and we did a deep dive into autophagy. The whole call was on that very subject, Jim. And thanks for kind of revisiting that, because we can hear the same thing from another individual like yourself, and it just sink in. So thank you for that. And the other question I have, so many people look at this and they say, okay, I'm only going to use this when I'm fasting, or I'm only going to use this when I want to do this deeper 2-day thing. So is that valid here? Or Jim, I want to make a point. There's 15 servings in here for a reason.
Yes, there are.
15 times 2 is a month. So could you share your thoughts around all the different ways and why we use this, not just in the longer fast?
Absolutely. Every single person is obviously different. And some people have some health challenges. And for those people with health challenges, which are a great number of us right now, going through some serious, hopefully, improvement. But when you have health challenges, fasting isn't going to be the easiest thing anybody can do, number one. And the good news is you don't have to go 48 hours. You don't have to go even 24 to achieve autophagy. You can get the benefit of a nightly burn, okay? So what you would want to do is approximately 3 to 4 hours after your last meal, just before you go to bed, open up one of those sticks and drink her down and let it work all 8 hours at night, doing the cleansing portion, helping the body cleanse itself. Again, it's loaded with all these nutrients. It's helping the body regenerate. And then you can go the next morning, if you can do one more, so that you don't break your fast with, let's say, an Ultra 30 or a breakfast. If you're still feeling good in the morning, do one more 4-hour thing and take it into 11 o'clock or noon before you then break that fast. And that's an intermittent fast. That is literally like a 12, 14-hour deal that will make a difference if you did that 2 to 3 times a week. For the person who can't go 24 hours or 48 hours, that will still give you the same kind of results. It's just a slower pace, and it's more gentle on the body than a person who is healthy enough to be able to go a 24 to 48 hour fast. So
And when
yes,
yeah. And when you say the same kind of results, so practically speaking, what is, say, 2 or 3 results of using this on a daily basis, Jim?
okay, almost on a daily basis, you could do it every other night. I don't know that I would do a burn constantly.
Okay.
2 things. 1, the body adapts. Okay. And if it's super used to that, then you're not going to get as big a kick from it, because then it will start to think, okay, we don't eat quite enough often enough, so I'm going to store and slow my metabolism down. So you want to probably do every other day if you're going to do the nightly burns, and then at least once a week, see if you could push it into a noon before you broke that fast or that burn. That would be very healthy, in my opinion. The advantage, obviously, is that, number 1, you're giving your body nutrients during the downtime at night. At night is when the body does the majority of its rebuilding. And that's when, if you could get into autophagy, when it's doing scavenging work, where it's looking for broken cells that could grow up and become harmful to you. Okay. And it's going to be taking those out before they can grow up and do harm. In my opinion, that just alone, that particular ability for autophagy to help with those broken cells that could be harmful, that is one of the modes that you can use constantly. If you can go a full 24 hours, you're going to see a little deeper results. If you can go 30 to 36 hours, even deeper. Because if you can stay in the autophagy range for an extra few hours, what the body's able to do during that period of time is marvelous. And we will see the aging process slow down. We will become a younger version of ourselves every time we do that.
Yeah, I think you just have to dig a little bit to really become very compelled about all the science. And we're learning more and more science about this beautiful phase in the body called autophagy, Jim. And, you know, one reason why I brought up the daily use is that, you know, this has an ORAC value over 2 million, which is kind of insane. And then all the nutrition, the minerals, etc. I guess, candidly speaking, Jim, there's days when I may already have my coffee. I may already have some caffeine or something, but I simply use the burn mode as an additional nutritional supplement, not so much a fasting aid. Is I want all the goodness in here. Thoughts around that?
That is the advantage of it. Not only is it helping us manage now you're the opposite. You need to gain weight, but 99% of us are on the other end of that stick, and we want to drop weight. We need to get back to a better BMI, body mass index, of particularly get it down to the fat, down into the low 20s. And you're probably you're below the teens. You're probably down too skinny, but the rest of us are fighting that quite often. And the blessing with this is that can happen, and it can help us maintain it. I loved what we were just listening to in our opener of, there's no wrong way to do this. There's no wrong way to put good nutrition in our body. It's not wasted. The body utilizes all those minerals. And that's the thing we're the most depleted in, because of the regular crops that we're eating. Our fresh fruits and vegetables don't contain all those minerals. Suddenly, with the burn mode and with the other products, we're getting 3 times the norm. And that is why we're seeing the results we're seeing with people's energy, with their sleeping, with their mental clarity. My favorite cocktail is a burn with e-vibe. Oh my goodness. You know, watch out. I can keep up with grandkids.
Yeah, it's when we first got the when I first joined Levo just 5 months ago, when I first got my burn mode and e-vibe in, personal confession, I had a long day ahead of me, and it was like 9 in the morning. I just got the phone with you, and I put my burn mode and e-vibe in like 5 ounces of water, only 5 ounces or 4 ounces, and I just shot it, and I felt like my gut from the inside out was lit up in a good way. And
Yeah.
I was cruising for the next 6-7 hours. So anyway, we can laugh about this, but there really isn't a wrong way to do it. The only wrong way is to not get the good nutrition in your body, really. And
True.
Jim, wouldn't you agree that part of the whole philosophy and approach here, whether it's Kirsty or you or any of us talking nutrition, is listen to your body?
Yes. The best doctor in the house is your own body. Start tuning into it. Take care of it. Do get sufficient sleep. Do exercise. It doesn't have to be strenuous. It just has to be consistent. 5 to 6 days a week, 30 minutes will give you incredible results over time. Do some upper body exercise as well as walking. Get plenty of water. Hydrate yourself. One of the good habits is to put a glass of water on your nightstand, and before your feet touch the floor the next morning, reach over and grab it and drink that 8 to 12 ounces down. You are at the driest point you could be early in the morning because of your breathing and how much moisture you lose through your breath. So we need to rehydrate at cellular level, not just a thirst level. And that would bless our lives like crazy. But then putting the healthiest meal in the world in your body with that Ultra 30 shake is just the smartest thing you would ever do to fuel the body, particularly as you break your intermittent fasting. If you can break it with an Ultra 30 shake, that's full spectrum. It's got therapeutic amounts of nutrients in it that if the body needs it somewhere, wow, like a dry sponge, and it's going to respond. It will give it a little bit of time, and then just watch what happens to your fingernails. Instead of clipping them once a month, it's like every 3 days. You have to get a haircut more often. All of those things will show up along with a flatter tummy.
Yeah, it truly is a beautiful thing. Yeah, as you mentioned, hair and nails specifically, you can visually see that.
Yep.
So we had some questions, Jem, pop into the chat. Number one, how many of us use the Life app on your devices? And do you find it helpful? Thumbs up. Yeah, the Life app is very helpful. It's a way to track your especially when you're doing a deeper fast, all the way into autophagy. Any comments around the Life app, Jem, as far as accountability and fun factor?
The truth is if you can track what you're doing, particularly for those of us, one little investment I'm going to suggest everybody do is go out and get something called a smart scale.
Yeah.
And simply get your BMI. And often it'll track right to your phone also, so that you can watch what it's doing. Because building your own testimony by watching your fat mass come down and your lean body go up while you're doing these programs will give you lots of fuel to share with people, and you become a walking billboard, and you can show it on your phone. All of those things. Yes, it blesses us. If we can hold ourselves accountable or get an accountability partner that we're doing it with, that is when I see myself do the best. When I am doing it and participating with others who are doing the same thing, I do better than when I just, okay, today I'm going to, but then an excuse comes along, nobody knows, okay, I'm not going to, I'll wait till tomorrow. So yeah, your app is going to be extremely helpful.
I agree. And speaking of accountability, the Best Body Challenge is amazing for accountability. It's free to join, and it's there's so many motivation stories, tools, guides, money, trips. It's an amazing challenge, guys. So we definitely invite you to participate in the 90-day and the Best Body Challenge. It truly is a beautiful program. So love your comments around, sometimes when we think of burn mode, maybe we think of e-bikes sometimes with that occasionally. So how does it affect sleep? I know I will do the burn a lot before I go to bed. I think you've already mentioned this earlier. I think Rudy here on the line mentioned it. They do before they go to sleep, and it really helps them get a good night's sleep. So any comments around that? Will it enhance sleep? I think you've already mentioned how it aids the organs of elimination.
It absolutely will. Nutrients can only do what nutrients can do, and you're taking into your body such a nutrient dense, easy to use with its own delivery system of live enzymes, all the minerals that are often missing so that they can get where they're needed, whether it's at the brain or rebuilding muscles or whatever, wherever it's needed. The body, as it rests at night, is your biggest time to rebuild and recharge. And yes, when you have nutrient dense food in there that can feed the body as it's regenerating itself and going through that burn, absolutely, and using up the fat as a fuel and just blessing you, many people report the very first thing that they start to see show up is better sleep and better sleep patterns. I know for my wife, it's when dreams start, and then dreams went from black and white to color. So all of the above can be part of the adventure.
Yeah, so true, Jim. Which is vital, the sleep combined with the exercise, the two antithesis. So let's see here. Another question was, I know Kirsty teed this up and you've talked about this before, Jim, but the simple question is, how quick or how long does it take to get into autophagy? I know we did an athlete's call. If you're interested in that, guys, it's archived and recorded, how the athlete can get into there when they go for a 2-hour workout, versus the average person. So a quick comment around.
Average? Okay. The timeline, approximately 8 to 10 hours of not taking in any carbs when you're doing the burn, obviously. You're now going into a little bit of ketones to use. So your blood sugar starts to drop in 8 to 10 hours. Autophagy starts in approximately 20 hours. All right. And by approximately hour 24, human growth hormone is increased up to 300%, because at that point you're into full burn mode of ketones. And at the same time, now human growth hormone comes out. And when that comes out, that is the really rebuild of autophagy. Okay, so starting hour 20 through 24, major improvement, up to 36. Now it just keeps increasing. So by hour 48, you've got human growth hormone increasing by 500%, and autophagy by hour 48 increasing by 300%.
Yeah, some beautiful things happen once again when your body hits that phase or stage of wellness and cleaning up. So another one is really it's around just a quick answer around age. What's the age range of for burn mode?
It's generally, you're going to want to be 18.
Yeah.
No, we're suggesting people who are pregnant or nursing, obviously not. And always consult your doctor before changing your diet or your exercise. particularly if you're on medications, you've got to do that, because when you're in burn mode, when you're in ketosis and autophagy, your blood thins automatically because you're not throwing sugar out there to thicken it. Okay, so there's no sugar going through your blood. That's why you don't need the insulin. But by doing that, your blood thins on its own. And so if you're on some blood thinning medication, you're going to have to be monitoring that and asking your doctor to help you monitor while you do some of this. That's why that nightly burn for people who have that particular problem is a whole lot safer. Anybody who can go from evening to morning without waking up and putting food in their body could usually do a burn overnight.
Okay, thank you, Jim. I know some people commented in the chat that they'd even do a little half packet sometimes. Or I guess the other question I really haven't asked is that there's always the personality types who are Mr. or Miss Much More. Is there any benefit to doubling up on the burn mode?
No.
I didn't think so. That's why I'm smiling about it. But
Right.
but other people do a half of a stick of the burn mode at times.
Yes. Again, there's no wrong way to use these super nutrients, other than a lot of guys think, well, if a little is good, more is better. That's not necessarily true. You can actually overdo a good thing, and you do not want to. Okay, be aware that when you're burning fat as a fuel, your body is also shedding a lot of toxins that were stored in the fat cells. Fat cells are impervious to toxins. That's why the toxins get stored there. And as we're burning the fat, then that's also releasing a lot of the toxins. That's why we need to be drinking plenty of water to dilute it and to rinse it out. So those sort of things, we just want to go slow and careful, and you'll still get there. If you're feeling pretty healthy, you measure how you're feeling every 4 hours.
I love it, Jim. So as we round up this call tonight, I'd love for you to summarize. If you look at you can go online and type in autophagy or fast or cleanse or detox, and there'll be 1,000,001 products. And I would love for you to summarize this. Why is this truly world-class? And I know I've heard you talk about this, but in your opinion, how does it really compare to all the other products on the market? What sets us apart with the burn mode?
Okay, when the team who put this particular burn mode together considered all of the ingredient list, they didn't just give it a little bit of this and a little bit of that. They used enough to make it work so that if the body needed it, it could. They got it from the cleanest sources around the world, literally. The minerals, particularly, various places they were able to gather those. The vitamins and all of the other nutrients that are in there are clean. Many of them are organic, and that makes them water soluble, and it's got its own delivery system. It's got it all built into one package to work, not just a little here and a little there. It's all there. It's what I would say a full spectrum of nutrients that the body can utilize, burn the fat, find a way to lower the insulin, let out the other hormones that are needed to work so that the body can regenerate and rebuild and really use effectively the autophagy program the way that the body is capable of doing it with these super nutrients.
Yeah. And Jim, there's a reason why we launched a system of products versus just one product, one formulation.
Absolutely. All of these 7, 8 products are synergistic with each other. You've got the gut health with the biome. You've got the energy and the antioxidants with the eVive. You've got the burn mode with its own delivery system of enzymes, its own nutrient dense nutrients without the fat, the protein, and the carbs, so that you are doing the intermittent fasting. It is a beautiful combination that all work in harmony with each other. In fact, they actually add layers to each other of more effectiveness. That's my opinion.
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful series of master formulations, and burn mode happens to be right at the center of it, doesn't it, Jim? So thank you.
Sure, you bet.
Thank you for that. Jill, you want to see if there's any more remaining questions, and hand it over back to you here. Jim, you're the best. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Robert. Enjoy talking with you.
I loved this conversation. Who is ready to burn? Like, this conversation was so incredible. I just, so you all know, I'm starting tonight. So in about an hour, and I'm going to drink my first burn. So for me, I never take it right before I go to bed, because I have to get up and go to the bathroom like 5 times in the night. I mean, I know this is TMI for a lot of you, but so I take it a couple of hours before I go to bed, and then that works better for me. But for a lot of people, they take it right before bed, and it helps them sleep so good. So whatever works for you, everybody, just do it the way it works for you, just like Jim and Robert were talking about. I love that. So does anybody else have any questions? Just go ahead and unmute your line if you have a question.
Donna had a question. Is it true that exercise helps the body get into autophagy a little quicker than just fasting?
Good question. Exercise actually moves your lymphatic system a lot. Here's the problem. If while you're doing the intermittent fasting, you should not be doing any heavy exercising. Mild to light is great. And it moves the lymphatics, which push out, that's the garbage collector. You got 60,000 miles worth of lymph vessels that grab all the garbage and filter out the bad and keep the lymph clean. So the answer is yes, light exercise is healthy, but you don't have to. It does improve it, but be careful that you don't overdo it, because your energy will be still high and you'll think, oh, wow, I guess I could run a marathon, but don't. Not on your burn days.
That is great. Jim, I have a question for you that just came into me directly. So she has a couple of customers that get an upset stomach from the burn mode. I wonder why that is. And I know my sister-in-law just started, and for the first 3 or 4 days, she was taking it every other day just to start out, and it made her have, you guys, we talk about bowel movements when we're talking about these things. So it made her have diarrhea for the first couple, 4 days, and then after that, she was totally fine. So Jim, do you know a reason why people would have an upset stomach at the very beginning?
Yes, the ingredients are pretty strong. This is not just a few sprinkles of something with fairy dust, like they say. This is the real deal. And the ginger in particular, some people are more sensitive to. And in fact, many think it's cayenne pepper, but it's actually the ginger that's in there that's giving you that little burn at the back of your throat and your tummy. But at the same time, if you can go slow, if you find that it gives you an upset tummy, then do exactly as you mentioned a few minutes ago. Just do half of a burn mode and get your body a little more used to it. And often the diarrhea and or the constipation is lack of water. They need to increase their amount of water and watch that diarrhea go away, usually. Now, if it's constant, then they're going to have to back off. There really might be one of the herbs in there that their body does not tolerate. Hopefully that can change with a little bit of time and detoxing. But yeah, everybody's just enough different that if you can go slow and easy, you'll generally overcome and get past some of those hiccups like the upset tummy.
That is great. Thank you, Jim. I know that when you have some of these symptoms start coming on, when you start burning, some people do, some people don't, but I'm like, if they call me, they're like, Jill, I have diarrhea. I'm like, yes, like that is perfect, because it means it's doing something in your body that, you know, that is good for you, to get some of those impurities out of your body. Or if someone calls with a headache, let's celebrate those symptoms with them, because it means that it's going in and really doing its magic, right, Jim?
That's right. It's better that it come through and out than stay in. It
Yeah.
is always better. You don't want it to get stuck in there. And oftentimes, unfortunately, our colon is loaded with a lot of debris that gets caked on there. And this has the effect and the possibility to help the body rid itself of those things.
That is beautiful. And water is the key, everyone. Water is the key for sure. Well, Jim, thank you. I'm going to have everybody unmute your lines, but then stay tuned for just a second. So I have some announcements. So go ahead and unmute your lines and give Robert and Jim our love for doing this call for us tonight.
Thanks, Robert.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Robert.
good seeing you. Thanks,
Really
Robert.
appreciate you guys.
Wonderful.
Thank you so
And
much.
to Sandy as well. Her story is incredible.
Yes, Sandy,
Love
thanks
you,
very
Yeah.
much.
Andy,
Love
that was
you.
awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Love it. Okay, so just a couple of announcements. So tomorrow night is the Pulse call at